Those that don't know, my name is Hope DeBoer, and I'm one of the district-wide behavior analysts, and I support the preschool teams here in Windermere.
I'm Megan Davis, a preschool coordinator, so I'm both at Windermere and at Crystal Lake. I go between the two. I'm Caitlin Fillenberry, I'm a preschool teacher at Windermere.
I'm Brianna Bograt, a classroom special education teacher.
Hi, Taylor Story, I'm one of the preschool teachers here at Windermere.
Christine Montanari, I'm a preschool teacher at Crystal Lake.
And then we also have Tanya Magnuson is at the door right now, and then we have a couple staff over with the children right now, so we can introduce them later on as well.
So as parents and guardians, your role is invaluable, not only to your child, but to us as a team in helping your children. So we just want to talk about fostering that independence and growing their skills throughout their days. Brief table of contents. We have 4 segments that we will go through. We did leave extra pens on the table if anybody wants to take notes, because we will do questions and answers at the end rather than throughout, just in the essence of time to try and get through. So feel free to jot down your thoughts so you don't forget to ask us questions at the end.
So structure and routines, we're going to share kind of the purpose of maintaining structure and routine both at home and at school, and some ideas and suggestions that are developmentally appropriate for preschool age children. So there are several positive outcomes of maintaining structures and routines for preschool age children. It gives them a sense of security, provides predictability, develops a sense of responsibility, helps with emotional regulation, and helps manage transitions. At this age, children are building their capacity to manage and understand their own emotions. Emotional regulation doesn't come naturally. It's a skill that develops over time, gradually. And it's important to have supportive routines and structures in place, which can help make a difference in their ability to regulate their emotions. As far as a sense of security, life, as we all know, can be unpredictable sometimes. And having routines offer comfort to children when we're transitioning them from one thing to another. It helps them to understand that some things are going to remain constant. Family routines can strengthen emotional connections between children and caregivers. It helps children to feel loved, safe, supported. Our schedules can change. Meal times can shift, so keeping a strict wake-up schedule or a bedtime routine, just giving kids routines wherever possible, helps them to maybe feel more comfortable.
Yeah. So kind of just continuing with what Christine was saying, we're really kind of focusing on that predictability, that responsibility aspect, where children don't have to worry about what's going to happen next in their environment because they already have an idea. I follow a predictable routine and I have my own responsibilities that I'm in charge of. They really thrive in these environments when they can anticipate those events. So like, for example, at school, we know I have snack, I wash my hands, I get a book, and then I get my coat to go outside for recess. And it kind of follows a succinct pattern every day where children kind of expect that to happen. Repeated exposure of these predictable tasks help children learn and master new skills, which can then increase their confidence and their own sense of accomplishment, that pride. I'm proud of myself, I'm confident because I did it independently. When they know the routine and expectations, they can take more initiative, they can take the lead. Like I mentioned, they're not busy thinking or worrying about what's coming next. Additionally, a structured environment establishes clear expectations and boundaries, which we also know children thrive from. It's a learned skill. What are my boundaries? What are my expectations for lunch or cleaning up? All those different areas. And it really helps children understand what acceptable behavior looks like. Moving into some emotional regulation skills. These are just some typical areas or skills that children of these ages should or are learning to do. So you can see it's kind of broken into 3 and 4 and 4 and 5-year-olds. It follows our CTLs, which some of you have some copies of. 3 and 4-year-olds should on average be able to adapt to most everyday circumstances. While they may rely on a familiar adult like a parent or a teacher to get through those difficult times. They're able to communicate about their emotions, whether expressively, receptively, body language. They can share how they feel. And they interact with familiar adults and using them in trusted and appropriate ways to help get approval, use them as a resource. So you can see there's a lot of similarities between the two. There's just more kind of like expression and why do I feel this way going on with the 4s and 5s. But these are just some preschool age social emotional skills. I had some examples to talk about there about emotional regulation, kind of going into what these kind of areas mean and how it helps foster those problem solving skills. It's really nice to model to children, especially when, as I think Christine had said earlier, social emotional skills are a learned behavior. It's not innate in children. They have to learn how to express themselves appropriately, how to calm down, how to regulate when you are upset. So I have a really nice example of just how you can model that to children in the home, even if it's just a quick example, like you were stuck in traffic and you had to rush to the store and now you're kind of agitated and stressed because you have to start dinner and bath times in 20 minutes and you're already getting late. That's a really wonderful opportunity to model to your children. I am frustrated right now. I'm stuck in traffic, dinner's getting late, and it's almost time for bed and we haven't even started eating dinner. I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm going to try again. And that just shows a child that everyone feels frustrated. Everyone goes through a period of difficult emotional struggle. And here's how I deal with it. And children really are natural learners. They're observers. They're going to watch and see, and then they will start emulating that similar behavior. So I think it's really nice as these kids are navigating all these really difficult, kind of challenging emotions, right? Like anger and frustration and disappointment. Those are big feelings. Just really modeling that for children as you go through. Wasn't quite sorry. I just turned pages, but I had a little bit more to add. I was just turning my page. Thank you, Megan. Just kind of want to talk about this emotional anchoring and what that means. Routines provide that emotional anchor. That's what we mean by that emotional anchoring. A consistent morning and evening routine can be one of those anchors, right? You wake up in the morning. Sometimes kids can be grumpy, they're tired, they don't want to go to school, or they want to stay home because they're going to miss their family. So having a nice solid routine to like just wake up and start your day can help anchor those emotions, right? I wake up, I brush my teeth, or maybe I go eat breakfast, whatever kind of routine you follow. It can help reduce those meltdowns and frustrations because there's already an expectation in place. I wake up and I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. And then maybe there's some choice time. Before I go to school, I get to go play with blocks, or, I get to go play with my brother or sister. And offering some of those choices in your routine kind of gives them that control while they're still following the expectation. We're still going to do these routines. Routines help children learn to manage those emotions and recognize their feelings. Structured environments provide opportunities to practice self-control, school especially, home. And emotionally regulated children are more likely to independently problem solve and seek solutions rather than dwell or really sit in that frustration or difficult emotion and not willing to work through that conflict because they're just so stuck in the feeling. So this really encourages that independence for tackling challenges on their own and that sense of autonomy. All set, Megan. Thank you. So that kind of goes right into managing transitions and changes. I think that's a big area for our little guys who struggle with what we call that transition, going from one activity to the next. So these are some ways you can help manage transitions, and changes in the home. Helps anticipate what's coming next. If there is a change in that routine, let's say you do your arrival routine or the morning routine the same every day, but today we have to get our flu shot before school. That's different. That's a change, something unexpected that a child may not encounter day to day. So what's really nice is to have some visuals. Here's an example of a visual schedule. Morning, right? I make my bed, I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and it really gives a sense of autonomy because you can ask the child what's next or show me what to do, and they'll say, oh, I made my bed, check. I went to the bathroom. Oh, I went to go brush my hair, but I forgot to brush my teeth. I'll go do that next. So it's really just nice, and you can see it follows the same pattern daily. These are called first then boards. They're really nice visuals to show what's first this, then this. Letting them know, again, what's coming up in their day. So visual schedules are really powerful tools. Kids at this age really thrive on visuals. You can even say, if they say, oh, I don't want to do that, oh, but the picture, the directions say, time for the bathroom, so we're going to the bathroom. And something that can kind of eliminate that meltdown, right? I know to go to the bathroom because it's telling me to do that. Pictures or symbols represent part of the day. For example, this might be a lunch. You may see a swing set or a slide indicate playground. Really just, again, helps that control, helps ease the anxiety of what's coming next, or when is this happening? I'm so excited, I'm going to a birthday party. First we're gonna eat, then we'll go to the party. They're really effective because they provide a concrete reference point. As I said, oh, it says bathroom. Sorry, that's what's next. It's kind of hard to get to a power struggle when you just simply say this. Time for this. Nothing else needs to be said. And then children can reference the schedule themselves whenever they want. They might go back to it and maybe you check it off or you put a sticker on it. You can make it really fun and individualized for each child, which is great. Up next, we have something called gradual shifts that goes into the transition. I have a nice picture of timers here. This is a nice way to show time. Our little guys don't understand time. Yesterday, today, 2 minutes, 5 years from now. They just don't know. It's not developmentally appropriate. In school, we use a lot of these timers. These are all different amounts of time. Kids are visual. They can see time because it's dripping down the sand timer. Or you might see digital timers that count down. You might even have some on your phone. Just a stopwatch or one of those countdown timers, and they can just see the decreasing, showing that there's an elapsement of time. When it's over, what's happening, giving that reminder. Introducing the change gradually, maybe giving a little heads up, hey, there's going to be a change today. So let's talk about it. Can help, again, it really just helps with that anxiety and easing the transition. Gradual shifts allow children to mentally prepare, feel more at ease, and small changes over time help practice flexibility. A lot of times at school, we talk about flexing our muscles. We're being flexible. Sometimes there are changes that we just have to go with the flow with. So kind of using all that terminology can really help during those transitions and changes. Still on the same, going down to ownership of routines. Again, it really just makes them feel capable and responsible. And kids this age can manage maybe pouring their cereal or picking their clothes out or just brushing their teeth. There's just little things where that they can feel responsible for and they're capable of doing. And involving them in their own routines makes, maybe they help you choose the order to put everything in. Helps them be more likely to cooperate, more buy-in, right? This is something that's benefiting me. And we really want to emphasize that these tools are simple but effective ways for children and adults. I know myself when I go to the store, I make a grocery list, or I have a Google Calendar that outlines my day by the hour. So we use all of these things ourselves, so why not give children that same control?
Another picture or visual that you might use with your children at home is home days and school days. That helps them transition back to school on Mondays. And then if you have changes in the calendar, like there's a holiday coming up, we're only going to have 2 days of school. You can draw a little house on Saturday and Sunday, for those are the home days. And then a different picture or symbol that you can put on Monday, Tuesday, whatever the school days are, you can draw it right on your calendar, or have them have their own calendar and put some sort of symbol or sticker on the certain days. And that visually will help them transition home days, school days.
It's a really good
You
idea.
can also take pictures of your children doing the activity that you want on the schedule. It doesn't have to be a symbol. Take a picture of them brushing their teeth. Take a picture of them climbing into bed or reading a story or whatever it is that you want on their schedule. And then it's their own schedule. It's a picture of themselves doing exactly what you're asking them to do. It doesn't have to be all these fancy symbols from a made up program. Take a picture in your own house of your own child doing what you want them to do for their schedule.
So to tie it all together, applying this at home, you're going to want to think about your family, your routine. What one person's family routine looks like is different from what another person's family routine looks like. So how you apply this is going to look different based on your own family. Just some ways that you can incorporate routines. Create a visual schedule or a simple checklist. This doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be as simple as, again, go to school, come home, dinner. It doesn't have to be every step, or maybe you just need your kid to brush their teeth. And so you have the simple steps to brushing their teeth so that they can say, oh, I put toothpaste on my toothbrush, just simple visual checklists. And then visuals are particularly helpful because they remind children of the expectations without the constant verbal reminders. If it's coming from us, that's okay, my mom's telling me to do that. I don't want to hear my mom tell me to do that. But if the picture's telling them to do it, they're probably more likely to comply. It's not coming from you. You can give your child jobs. Kids actually love jobs. Like, kids love jobs probably more than adults love jobs. You can make anything into a job. You can ask them to put dishes on the table, put out the forks. You can incorporate pretty much anything. Take the cover off of this. Hey, oh gosh, I can't get this open. Can you? Kids love jobs. So it gives them a sense of purpose. It makes them feel involved. It doesn't have to be anything big. They love that. And it gives an accountability, right? We're always, what do we grow up into adults to do? We get jobs, right? So we start them young, teaching them a sense of this accountability to someone else, a responsibility. Giving them choices. Again, kids love choices. You make them think they're making a choice. You want them to put pajamas on. You don't have to put a specific set of pajamas out and say you have to wear that. Give them 2 pairs of pajamas. Which one do you want to wear? They're going to be happy they have a choice. And in the end, their pajamas are going to get put on. No fights, no battles. They think they're having a choice. They feel like they have some control. I mean, let's face it, kids don't get a lot of control in their lives. We're constantly managing what they're doing. And so they feel a sense of control when they have the choice to decide what they want, something.
I just add to
Yeah.
one of my favorite things at home with my 2-year-old. If he doesn't do what I asked him to do, I'll say something along the lines of, do you want to do it yourself or do you want me to help you do it? And like, they want to do it themselves.
Mhm.
So most of the time they'll do it, at least for my son. So try that.
Yep.
It works sometimes.
We kind of touched on the visual timers. Visual timers are great. Again, kids understand time. If you know you are getting ready to go to school in the morning and you have to leave at 8 o'clock in order to get to school on time, it's probably not going to be best to be like at 7:59, okay, we got to go out the door, we get our shoes on. You give them a 3-minute timer that they can see, and you say, okay, in 3 minutes, we're going to get our shoes on. We're going to do this. And you've now planned it out. And they feel like, again, that they have time to transition themselves. It's not like rush, rush, rush. I think kids, they feel that when we're like tense and we're rushed. So if you give them a timer, you show them how long. If you want them to sit at the table for a certain amount of time, put that visual timer. Hey, we're going to sit here at the dinner table for 5 minutes, and they can see that and they know, and then they know when it's done, they're done. Modeling positive behavior is huge. Kids watch us and they just soak everything we do up like a sponge. And I know even as a parent myself, how many times I've had to say to my kids, yeah, mom didn't make a good choice in how I acted in that situation. Showing them that you're calm, you can handle your emotions, they're going to learn how to handle their emotions. Using calm, clear language to express the feelings and needs. It is okay to say to your child, I'm feeling frustrated right now. They know what frustration feels like. They're seeing us be human and feel that too. I'm going to take a deep breath, or, I'm going to go sit down for a minute, or whatever it is that showing them that you're going to do what you need to do to calm down so that they are able to be able to do that for themselves as well. Reinforcing positive behaviors goes along with the positive feedback. Kids love to be praised. It doesn't have to be anything big. You don't have to give them a huge reward. They love like a big, oh my gosh, wow, you did it. I'm so proud of you. You give them a hug, you give them a high five. They, you're such a big kid. Like, they love to feel big. They love to feel independent. So giving them that constant positive feedback motivates them to want to do that again.
Can I jump in quickly?
Yes.
And it's nice to highlight that positive behavior, not just when you ask them to do something. If they're doing something unprompted, make sure you go out of your way. Hey, I love how you washed your hands without me having to tell you. little moments just sprinkled in. Doesn't have to be a big thing. Hey, great job helping your sister clean up. I really appreciate it. Just little.
Morning and evening routines. Again, that sense of predictability. They know what's coming. They know when they get up in the morning that they have to brush their teeth, eat breakfast, get their clothes on, whatever order you're going to put it in. They can know it. They can see it. It's predictable. And I think that's going to help reduce meltdowns, reduce frustrations. It just creates a calming rhythm, especially at bedtime. Bedtime routines are great. Bedtime routines are amazing. Like, because you want your kid to settle down. You want them to be able to go to bed and not feel all like tense and stuff. Having a calming corner or a cozy space at home, pillows, stuffed animals, calming like sensory fidgets, things like that. Letting your child know that it is okay to take a break is a big deal. We ask to take a break sometimes. It's telling them it's okay for you to take a break. Do you need a break? Do you want to go to your calming corner? But overall, it's really about making small, consistent steps. These are a lot of things that we're telling you right now. It doesn't mean go home and try to implement all these things all at once. Pick one thing. Say, okay, we're going to work on visual scheduling, and we're going to start with just getting ready. One thing, do it consistently. Once they pick that up, you can add in something else. You never want to feel like you're overwhelmed trying to teach your child how to be independent. So start at the bottom, just do a little bit at a time, and you can build a nice, predictable environment for your child.
Motor and adaptive skills. These are great ways for preschoolers to demonstrate their independence and ability to navigate daily tasks at home and in the community. All kids love to be active, whether it's gross motor wise, fine motor wise, or even doing some of those activities of daily living skills. Motor skills refer to both fine motor and gross motor. The fine motor skills are beading, cutting, writing, smaller skills, and then the motor skills, the gross motor skills are running, jumping, playing when they're outside at recess. Here's some examples of fine motor activities, what it looks like for 3-year-olds, and then what some of the fine motor activities look like for 4-year-olds. And we have kiddos that their age ranges from 3 years to 5 years. So that's a broad spectrum of where kids start when they come to us for pre-K, and then where they are when they're leaving. And some of these are just examples of when they come to school, maybe just wiggling their fingers or folding paper, or just stacking up some blocks is where they're at for fine motor. Again, and then as they progress, what it looks like fine motor wise for preschoolers, they start to draw. At first, they start to just scribble. They're using a fist grip. And then developmentally over time, they'll start to hold their pencil with the tripod grasp. They'll start drawing, writing their names. They'll start drawing a recognizable picture where they're drawing a picture maybe when they're 3, 3.5, but yet to them it has a lot of meaning, but to you it might just look like some colors on the piece of paper. Or once they're starting to get older and those fine motor skills are developing, then they can draw a picture of a person. They can start to write some of the letters in their name, tracing letters. And then in the beginning, they start just by cutting some little snips with scissors. You want them to hold their thumb upright in their scissors. And then as they get going, they can cut on a line, cut a triangle, and cut a circle. So those are some examples of pretty much the fine motor activities that we work here on at school. You can switch, Megan. Oops. You can go back one sec. Sorry, to add to the fine motor activities, some of the things that you could do at home just to get them actively working on those fine motor things, and just to start developing the skills at home. Arts and crafts. A lot of the kids just love doing anything with arts and crafts. A lot of times in the school, we'll do just Friday free art where you put out pieces of paper. You can put out some stickers, peeling those little stickers, just opening a glue cover, gluing some of those things on. Puzzles. Whether they're inset puzzles or as they get older, then they start to connect the puzzles together, really works on that fine motor, works on cognition, works on adaptability and changing puzzle pieces to fit each other. Building blocks, whether they're using Legos, Duplos, wooden blocks, Even cups, you can stack cups at home. Those are a great way, and they're very entertaining for them. Play-Doh, clay, any of the putties, those are great ways to work on fine motor activities, just so that squeezing. The Play-Doh and putty, they all have different kind of strengths to them, if you will. Or Play-Doh is very easy to manipulate and move with your hands, and then you can use different putties. There's different strengths to the putty too, and that really strengthens those fine motor skills. Any beading or stringing, you could even just do pipe cleaners and put things on the pipe cleaner to bead. Buttoning and zipping, we work on a lot of buttoning and zipping at school. And again, it looks very different from a 3-year-old to a 5-year-old. 3-year-olds might just be getting their arms in their coat, or just learning to pull their sleeves out so then they could put their coat on the right way. And then by the time they leave preschool, we really like them to be able to zip up their zipper. And a lot of times we just say, you start it, you try. And then once they've had an opportunity to try for themselves and have that independence themselves, then we can support them. Sometimes this is hard and tricky to get in, and then they do the zip up part. Cooking together is another great way. They can add things, you can measure them, they can add to baking. Tracing and drawing, we do a lot of tracing with stencils, we do a lot of drawing. Again, they just start coloring with their fist grip, and eventually that fine motor will take over. The tripod grip will work towards a tripod grip. But any tracing and drawing at home is great practice for them. Sewing cards, those are the cards that you put kind of like the shoelace through, and then you can loop it around. They love doing those. Another way, eye-hand coordination and just working on those fine motor skills for them. Gross motor is awesome. All things running, jumping. 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, this is an example of what it looks like for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And again, they start off just learning to balance and run, being able to navigate a playground, watch for other friends here at school, hopping, kicking balls. Can they walk on a balance beam, or can they walk? You could even put a piece of tape on the floor. Can they walk on a piece of tape, kind of balancing one foot in the front of the other? Can they walk backwards on a piece of tape or a balance beam? Catching and throwing playground balls, throwing tennis balls, different balls of all shapes, different balls that are weighted, rolling, just to get some of those gross motor movement skills going. And things that you can do at home, again, ball games, dance and movement is a great way to demonstrate gross motor activities. We love to have dance parties here at school. You could do a couple of the chores that they mentioned earlier, or doing some of those helping tasks at home, and hey, let's have a dance party. We finished your toothbrushing, we finished your other skill in the morning. Let's have a little quick dance before we go to school. Obstacle courses are great, and it can be anything that you or your child create. A lot of times we'll do them right in the classroom, or even as transition things when we're going from circle time to wash their hands. We'll say hop like a bunny, going from circle to wash your hands. Growl like a lion or a tiger as you're doing it, just to facilitate some of those other gross motor activities. Any of the ride-on toys, tricycles, scooters, balance bike, they coordinate, help with coordination and leg strength. I love this one, nature walk. Anytime that you can get outside, collecting rocks, collecting leaves, talk about things in the natural environment for them. Hop over puddles, climb over different things. Creative movement. Again, I mentioned growling like a tiger. Do animal walks. Can you walk like a bear, crawl across and do something in the living room? Frog jumps. A lot of animal movements you could come up with. Again, a great way to just kind of get some of that energy out. Sports introduction, basic sports like throwing and catching the balls, kicking, and just doing simple games that you want to do and play. Hopscotch, sidewalk chalk. You can draw all over the sidewalk. Then they could ride their scooter around. They could walk on it. They could practice balancing on it. So those are just some examples of gross motor and fine motor things that we do here at school. And then again, things that can help foster their independence. And they really have such a increases their self-confidence when they're doing a lot of different skills and trying all of these different things out. Oh, adaptive skills. That was me too. Adaptive skills. Those you involve your child in daily routines like dressing, brushing their teeth, setting their tables, and these things. Taylor and Christine mentioned too, you can incorporate a lot of the adaptive skills on a schedule board if that's easier for you to work through some of them. Another adaptive skill, using a knife for spreading, forks, eating, putting shoes and socks on, removing clothing, getting dressed to the best of their ability, beginning to do it without your support. You try this and then I can help you. You try to put it over your head and then I can help you if you get stuck. Buttoning small buttons in the front that they can see, any buckles, the Velcro to their shoes, putting their shoes and socks on independently, and again, beginning to zip and unzip, and caring for their toileting needs. Again, you support them in the beginning, and then as time goes on, you start to fade some of those supports to see if they can do that independently. Meal preparation is a great way at home to work on some of these adaptive skills, allow them to help cooking tasks, washing vegetables, stirring ingredients, setting the table is great. At school, a lot of times we'll have them just pass out the napkins at each person's place. Even a little spray bottle to help clean up after. They could use a little squirt bottle and spray around the table and then wipe it up to practice. Cleaning up toys, dusting, sorting laundry. Sorting laundry is great. Sorting laundry, doing socks. Can they match things? Can they put all the shirts in a pile? Can they put all the pants in a pile? Can they just take things out of the dryer for you? Any gardening, they love planting seeds, watering plants, pulling weeds in the summer is great. Teachers' responsibility and caring for living things. Self-help skills such as putting on the shoes, putting on your jacket, using utensils independently. And again, offer support as they need it. And you know your child. If they need a little more support to do some things and not others, you give them that support. But then as they're learning, you fade some of that support back to foster that independence and that confidence so that they'll be able to do it on their own. Social play, arrange play dates or group activities to help them learn sharing, taking turns, and cooperating with others. Story time and reading, ask them to predict what happens next, to identify different things on a page for you. Talk about what's happening in a book. What do you think is going to happen next? Talk about the characters in the book. Problem solving, simple puzzles, helps them to think critically. Sorting objects, they can sort forks, knives, spoons when they're coming out of the dishwasher for you. And just ask them different things when they are playing. How can we solve that? What can we do with that? Can you give me some suggestions? Creative play, encouraging imaginative play with dolls, action figures, or dress up. Kids love to pretend. So any way that there's opportunities for them to pretend, play, or act out different things is really great for their skills as well.
All right, so health and development. We already went over some of this with Mrs. Magnuson's, but just to reiterate that the importance of self-help skills, their independence. We really want to work on teaching them some independence in the home, in school. As they grow and gain more skills, we'll allow them some more independence as they go. So some of the topics are toileting. I know that's a hot topic usually in preschool, dressing, hygiene, mealtime, exercise, and safety. We already went over some of these with the previous slide with adaptive skills, but just to share with you some of the things that we do here in school. At home, you might use a training chart or a potty chart that they can use stickers. It doesn't have to be something that you bought. It can be something that you simply made with markers and stickers or drawing little stars or smiley faces on the chart as the child is going to the bathroom, or it could be that you're just trying to get them in the bathroom would be first step. Just to get in the bathroom, it might be that you're giving them a smiley face or star or something on their chart. It depends on the child and what they're working towards. A 2 into 3 and then 3 going into 4, they have different skills that they're working on. So they might be just learning how to go in the bathroom and get used to sitting on the toilet. You might use a chart for that. A little bit older of a child, 3 going into 4 or 4 or 5, you want to work on them staying dry or using the bathroom and actually going and then flushing and following all the steps. So it might be different based on the child and their needs. At school, we use visual pictures. So visual pictures of them pulling their pants down, being able to sit on the toilet. Next step might be pulling the toilet paper, being able to sit on the potty and then flush the toilet. So we don't use actual pictures at school for that, but we do have pictures that you can either draw or you can find them on the internet so that they have the steps for using the bathroom and then going to wash their hands at the end. We also use stories. So it might be stories in the bathroom that they might pick up, and that encourages them to sit on the toilet a little bit longer, or stories that they read with the adult at nighttime or nap time, so that it gets them used to wanting to go to the bathroom and the toileting. So we're working on that independence, being able to go into the bathroom, being able to eventually use the bathroom, and then moving on from pull-ups into underwear. Some families choose to put underwear with the pull-ups when you're transitioning. So it might be putting underwear under the pull-up so that they get that wet feeling. If they do wet in the pull-up, the underwear gives you that wet feeling instead of the pull-up, because now the pull-ups are so absorbent that they don't feel it. They don't feel that they wet, and then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of understanding that, oh, now I just went. So putting the underwear in between the pull-up or themselves and the pull-up sometimes helps with that feeling. Some people put the underwear above it. Everybody's different, chooses to do different things above the pull-up just so that they feel big and they've done a big kid thing. And then they get to go shopping with you. Maybe it's they picked out their favorite character. They get to pick out their favorite underwear, favorite color, character, whatever it might be. They get to pick it, bring it home, and then wear those because they feel really independent and big doing that.
We actually presented on toileting last year. We have a whole slideshow. So if you are interested in that, just reach out to your child's teacher and they can share that with you. And you'll hear a recording and see it all. And then you'll come back with more questions. We'd love to hear them.
It's also really important to establish routines with toilet training. So it might be every half hour you're bringing them to the bathroom, every hour. It depends on your child and how long you think they can hold it. You might start with every half hour, and that sounds ridiculous to some people. But on a Saturday and Sunday, you might want to devote your day or your weekend to that, trying every half hour, going in, praising them every time, even if it's just going in and they sat on the toilet, praising them with a smiley face, a sticker, a good job, whatever it might be that you choose to do at home. And then following those routines every day. So in the morning, you're going to go and sit, and that's our routine. After you wake up, you go and sit, you try. And then consistently following that routine. And then using the same language. So if you're using a certain word for going to the bathroom at home, it might be a different language. It might be just something that you use at home. Then you want to share that language with the teacher so that we can use the same language and be consistent at school so that they get that back and forth consistency for the toilet training. Dressing would be the next step too. So along with toilet training, they then have to learn to pull up their pants. They have to push them down as well. And then working on putting on jammies, putting on their clothes in the morning. Start with just having them pull their feet in and then pull up the pants. Make sure clothing is loose to start, so that it might be sweatpants, and those are easy to get on and off, versus leggings might be a little more difficult for children to get on and off. Being able to have pants that have the elastic waist so that they can easily just pull them up versus doing the buckles. Once they are able to dress more consistently, then you might want to start introducing some of the buckles and things. Putting their arms through the shirts, you might start with just putting their head in, and then they can work on the arms. Having the practice getting their coats on in the morning and then taking them off. And then working on the zipper, like Mrs. Magnuson already mentioned. Sometimes we have different sayings. You want to engage the zipper. It might be put the train in the station and then pull it up. Other teachers have different words that they use to really engage the zipper and then pull it up. Work on the shoes as well, shoes and socks. They like to pick out their socks, and then they can try putting those on. Start with large socks, putting them on. They might put yours on first, and then go to a smaller size so that they're putting their own. Hygiene is something that we work on at school as well. So we sing songs when we're washing hands. One of the things is that they're washing their hands for 20 seconds is a big standard for our NIAC accreditation. So we teach them songs. It might be the happy birthday song that they're singing. Some of them are working on their math skills and they're counting. They count to 20 while they're washing their hands. And they have other chants that they might say throughout the different classrooms. But you can make up a song. Sometimes we make up random washing hand songs that we just come up with as we're trying to get them interested in wanting to scrub the soap. Brushing teeth, you can have them help put the toothpaste on if you're not comfortable with that yet. They're just helping with the toothbrush. It might just be water on the toothbrush to start, and then they're helping to, if it's a electric brush, they might be interested in just playing with it in their mouth. And then bath time routines. Those also need to be consistent, following a schedule. They can assist you with taking their clothes off and then getting into the tub, following the same routines. Maybe they want to pick the shampoo that they use for their hair, and then it might interest them in washing their hair. Some kids don't like getting their face wet. Another new soap that has come out is a foam soap. So they think that's really cool, like shaving cream. It comes out different colors and scented, and it looks like fluffy shaving cream. And they think that's really fun. And they can kind of paint the wall with it and wash themselves, getting them a little more independent in the bathroom. Mealtime activities. We want to work on the children not only increasing independence in their feeding and nutrition, but also helping at home. So we want them to start using their utensils, using a spoon, using a fork. For a knife, I wouldn't give them a sharp knife, but you can use a plastic knife at home or one of those toddler knives that you use, and have them practice spreading butter or peanut butter or jam on their bread so they can practice that skill as well. You can even practice cutting with Play-Doh and using a plastic knife on Play-Doh as well, so they work on cutting the food in half or the Play-Doh in half. We also can have them help with setting the tables and then being independent to put the things away. They can sort the forks, the spoons, the knives, help with those routines. We already went over the gross motor activities that you can do at home. So just again, some obstacle courses you can do, dance parties, active play that you can do at home, same as what we do at school.
So just a few safety skills to incorporate at home. We have a lot of social butterflies in preschool, so making sure they know who a trusted adult is versus a stranger in the park. We have a lot of adults who come in to help out and volunteer in classrooms, and these are unfamiliar adults, but it's a trustworthy adult that they can talk to and know that they will be helping them, whereas approaching an adult in a public place is not safe. Another thing to practice at home is we do a lot of fire drills here. So those are very important, and it's new for a lot of kids, and it can be scary for some of them, especially that loud noise. So making sure at home that you're practicing there as well, so that they know and then are corresponding the two, knowing that we have a safe zone. We go outside in the back. So make sure you have a safe zone at home and that your kids know exactly where that safe zone is. So if there ever was an emergency, they are confident in where to go. Some road safeties, making sure you are talking about with them that they're looking across, they're looking both ways before crossing, making sure they're holding an adult's hand if they're crossing the road, making sure there are no cars coming by, because we are including these same skills at school. So having them come in with these skills is great. Another thing you could do at home is a scavenger hunt with safe items and unsafe items in the house. A big question we get asked is why something is unsafe in the classroom. So making sure you guys are having those discussions at home so that they can relay those same qualities to other items, such as a thumbtack. The kid might say, why is this dangerous? But if you're explaining to them how it's sharp, they'll be able to relate that to other items and see for themselves. Yeah.
So we're briefly going to talk about positive reinforcement and just engaging our children. And why is that so important? When children are actively engaged, they're more likely to learn, they're more likely to cooperate, and they're more likely to follow instructions. When something is interesting and engaging, you just get more compliance. There's more natural interest and they want to do it. Engagement kind of reduces the boredom piece of things. And let's face it, a lot of what we asked our kids to do is a little bit mundane. It's the same every day because we just taught about structures and routine. So now how do we make it interesting and exciting for them? And what does that for you is that positive reinforcement that we're going to talk about. Positive reinforcement really is feedback to your children about what they did so that they do it again the next time and they maybe do it a little better or a little different, or they just do it again because you like that they did it the first time. So the reality is positive reinforcement is information to your children about what they just did so that it happens again in the future, even better.
So one way to build that buy-in for your kiddos to follow those types of directions is to really like engage with them and play with them when they're playing. And I know when they get home from school, it's a very busy time, especially at my house. I'm sure it's very similar. But even like 10 minutes a night, just